Okay, let's move on to the next one. Okay, so there's the history of Scholomance. What else do we have here? These are all pretty long. Okay, yeah. So we'll go with some WoW stuff. We'll go with WoW. Then we'll go with politics. Then we'll go WoW, V-Rising into politics, and then we'll see what time it is, and we'll move from there. I might just go to sleep at that point. We'll see.
Scholomance, a school devoted to the study of necromancy and led by the cult of the damned.
Hmm.
Fanatical worshippers, faithful to the Lich King and his Scourge army. Dark places such as this.
Honestly, I don't get it. Like, why would these guys? I mean, Kel'Thuzad I kind of understand, but like, why would so many humanoids be working for undead? Like, maybe it's like living in like like living forever or some shit in undeath.
Are scorched among the many lands of the Eastern Kingdoms.
Like,
But
what
this dark
fascinates them about
dungeon
this kind
is
of
filled with harrowing
life?
tales and unique stories
Also, it must be really boring in that manner, just standing around, like having the skeletons patrol, and you're like not doing anything, just standing there.
pertaining to Warcraft lore. The unfortunate truth is dark places such as this always begin with good intentions.
Did they though?
Scholomance was once a
It was
lovely
a school,
mansion
right?
called Ser Darrow, owned by the Barov family. Alright, big smile, everyone. The family included Lord Alexi, Lady Alucia, Jandis, Alexi Jr., and Weldon. This family was
Guess
stupidly
Weldon's the
rich,
problem.
owning South Shore, Tarn Mill, and Brill back when they were
Oh,
human settlements. But alas, money could not satisfy their greed any longer.
nope. When there's too much money, it gets boring as well.
Oh, hello. I heard you are interested in immortality. The Barovs wanted to enjoy their wealth for
Okay, so
all
I was right. It
eternity.
was about
Kel'Thuzad,
immortality.
a necromancer and leader of the cult of the damned, was quick to offer them that
Wait,
luxury
this is
in
Kel'Thuzad?
exchange for Ser Darrow
Okay.
for his own personal use. It didn't take long for the once royal home of the Barovs to turn into an evil dungeon used to practice the dark arts of necromancy. This transition does not have much documentation in the lore, and the only way we can truly see what this conversion was like is from the first hand experience of Ava and Lucen Sarkov.
I mean, I wish we knew about this like from Warcraft 3 or something, because we are introduced to Cult of the Damned, but at that point the Cult of the Damned is already pretty much established, right? We have like no actual like history about the Cult of the Damned in Warcraft 3.
The head butlers of the Barov's estate. Ava and Lucen talked about how the house grew more and more unclean as dark inhabitants started to stalk the halls. They could hear the screams of the fellow servants as they were tortured against their will. Ava and Lucen sectioned themselves off into one of the rooms and barely clung to survival. After 6 months, they were finally caught. Okay, so this part is extremely violent and just not family appropriate.
Chicken. But why would they sit in a room for 6 months? Couldn't they have like escaped?
So the least I could do was replace the visuals of the story. The two were
Sure.
stripped down naked and thrown on a circle of blood
Nice.
that kept them locked there with powerful magic. After days of imprisonment, Dr. Theon Krasnikov, also called the Butcher, made his appearance. Balls! The Mad Doctor used the dark arts of necromancy to stop them from enjoying the sweet release of death. And the two servants were used to test the new alterations of the plague. Stinky! Eventually, the Doctor.
I'm not gonna lie. I like Platinum WoW videos, but like sometimes the memes is just like enough. Like holy shit. I mean, maybe it's just because the memes are old now, because this is like a 1 year old video or something like that, right? 2 year old actually, a year and a half, whatever. But it's like I don't know. Those memes were never like that good. I think they were okay for the time, I guess, but like yeah.
Threw the two servants that were drained of life to his ghouls, letting them feast on their flesh as he laughed maniacally. Tickle time.
Oh, stop it.
That's better, finally.
Yeah, so, Scholomane's not really a nice place. But
No,
anyway,
not anymore,
at the
yeah.
end of the day, the Barovs got what they wanted. Kind of.
Weldon looks the same. Okay, Alexei became undead. Forsaken. Jandis, okay. Jandis and Lady Lucia look exactly the same, just different haircuts. And then, yeah,
Lord
Alexei.
Alexei and Lady Lucia were turned into ghostly agents of the Scourge and must be put to rest. Same goes for Jandis, who uses her disorienting illusion magic in combat.
Oh,
and
that's
is
who
the
it was,
steward
okay.
for the innocent blood the Butcher harvests. Totally unrelated, but in Mists of Pandaria, they revamped this dungeon and they gave Jandis a Russian accent for some reason.
Oh, it takes some real stones to challenge the mistress of illusion.
It's not that Russian, to be honest. It's like half French, half Russian, if anything.
Well, show me what you've got.
Oh my god.
Alexei and Weldon Barov have much more different stories compared to their relatives. Weldon quickly escaped the estate when things
Oh,
were going
smart.
clearly wrong,
Okay,
and
so that's where
Alexei was
Weldon
turned
went.
into an undead, like his family, and left to go join the Forsaken instead.
Oh,
Both of these
okay.
brothers were overwhelmed by greed and made it their life's mission to retrieve the deeds their families owned and have all of the wealth to themselves.
I'm assuming this guy's Alliance and that guy's Horde. Is that what happened?
Alliance get a quest from Weldon, and the
Yeah,
Horde get a
okay.
quest from Alexei to go in the Scholomane and
Makes
collect
sense.
these deeds. When the player returns, they tell
Kill my
them
brother.
to assassinate their brother so they can have all of the wealth to themselves. After completing the quest chain, you get a trinket called the Barov Peasant Collar that can be used to summon your own gaggle of ghostly servants. Lore-wise, we don't really know if they actually died because both brothers can be found in Warlords of Draenor, so the whole killing your brother thing must have just been them playing pretend.
I mean, since when has WoW continued the story properly? Let's be real.
But I digress. Let's get back to Scholomance. This place is a school, so we need to talk about the faculty.
Okay, so it is a
teach
school,
within it.
yeah.
Before we start, I'd just like to say that some bosses here don't have any lore whatsoever. For example, Rattlegore. This big, badass amalgamation of bones is just some monster guy in a basement. There's not really any
Basically.
official lore about him, but that's not to say that there aren't any bosses with an interesting history. Marduk Blackpool was a ferocious soldier of the Scourge. He led the campaign to destroy the human settlement of Darrowshire, cutting through humans by the dozens with his rune-laden sword. During the battle, he corrupted the
Good-looking sword.
spirit of Joseph Redpath to assist in the eradication of the inhabitants within Darrowshire. Later in Marduk's undead life, he lost his corrupted sword in a skirmish near Corn's Crossing, and the evil blade sunk into the ground, corroding into the land and creating the infectious scar we know today. At some point, Marduk became a tutor in Scholomance.
So that's how it became like that.
Stop running. And you, get down from there. Start studying now. Vectus, you've got to do something about this.
Now please, students, calm down and get back in your seats.
With his colleague Vectus, they researched the corruption of dragon eggs to make a breakthrough in creating a plagued dragonflight. These dragon eggs were smuggled in from Blackrock Spire by a goblin called
that's
Pinky Steamboil, and if the Scourge and Scholomance weren't evil enough for you, the corrupted dragons only tolerate eating the flesh of tortured.
Why does he look like a pig? Look at that fucking face. He has a big face. It's like, what the fuck?
And terrified.
It looks like the legs are just like zoomed in or such.
Prisoners.
Oh, weird. Yeah. Gargoyle. That's a very happy gargoyle.
Kurtonos the Herald is a vampire that looms over Scholomane. He is the master to Dr. Theowen Krastinov, who appeases him by offering innocent blood to feast on. As time passed, more and more of the innocent civilians within Scholomane perished, meaning Kurtonos was a rare sight among the school because of the lack of blood. But
Okay.
adventurers who are brave enough to summon the Herald may be able to put his evil to rest.
Oh,
Pretty
that's who
spooky
the boss
story,
is.
right, kids? Master Genling, you must not dally around telling these children spooky ghost stories and teach them how to reanimate a corpse at once. Yes, sir. Dark Master Ganling and Ras Frostwhisper are the headmasters of Scholomane, and Ganling really has no lore about him except that he's a student of Ras Frostwhisper. And Frostwhisper himself
Okay.
has quite the interesting backstory. He was once a
Alright, so
mage
they're both headmasters, but one of them was the teacher of one of the headmasters. Okay.
of Stromgard and was one of the first people to join the Cult of the Damned and quickly advance through its ranks. He turned his life over to the Lich King for the promise of immortality. Leonid Bartholomew, a member of the Argent Crusade, watched as Ras Frostwhisper underwent a horrible ritual to become a lich. In the slaughterhouse of Stratholme, Ras kneeled on Menethil's gift, a pentagram-like shape blessed by the Lich King himself.
Wait. But at this time okay, first of all, that doesn't make a lot of sense. As soon as he put on the helmet, he went to fucking hibernation. So was this blessed by the Lich King before Arthas? When the fuck does this happen? What? Okay, whatever.
The mage took a dagger to his throat, cutting from one side to the other to appease the Prince of Darkness. And the Lich King raised Ras as a lich and commanded him to do his bidding.
But Kel'Thuzad should be a lich by now. Why was he not a lich in that video? Maybe Platinum WoW didn't make him a lich by mistake?
Almost all liches in WoW and fantasy in general have a thing called phylactery, which is
Yeah.
basically a vase that their spirit is bound to. If they die, their spirit goes into the vase and then they eventually reemerge
Instead
again.
of
The only way a lich can be
Shadowlands, I
slain
guess.
for good is by destroying the phylactery. Think of them kind of like an evil genie. But Ras is the exception to this rule, as the only way to bring him back to his immortal form is by using an item called a Keepsake of Remembrance, a personal item from when Ras was living. Using this item converts Ras to his ghostly human form where he can be slayed for good, silencing the evil within Scholomane
Oh,
once and for all.
interesting. Okay, so he's an exception to the rule.
Now before I leave you, I have one more story to tell.
Alright.
What if I told you Scholomane is real? Okay, well, not really. Scholomane is a place in Dracula folklore located near Transylvania where the devil himself teaches people how to ride dragons and control the goddamn weather. Okay, that's it. I just thought that was cool and I wanted to share it with you guys. Okay, now the video is over.
That's cool. So there's a place, I guess. Oh boy. Alright, that was Scholomane, Darkest Lore in WoW by Platinum WoW. It is a pretty old video. But still good nonetheless. Except with those annoying memes. I didn't. Not my thing. No. Not my thing. Alright. Let's go for the next one.